glad that you chose to spend the day with us. We're honored. We could not do this without you. We would not exist without you. So that cheer was for you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for choosing to spend your day with us. The first presentation of the day is very close to my heart. I'm a founding executive board member of Atlanta Veg Fest. If we haven't met already, my name is Adrienne, and I've been here since the beginning. And this year we were thinking about what we wanted to do for our talks, which are an integral part of our mission, because our mission is to educate folks about the benefits of what we're doing here today, for the earth, for the animals, for each other, how we're all interconnected. And so the education component is a really huge part of what we do, and we will always have talks. And so we were kind of thinking, what do we want to do different with talks? We want to mix it up. We want something fresh. We want something new. And I was very close with someone who ran an animal sanctuary here in Georgia called A New Hope. And I was mostly involved as a volunteer on site, but also as a fundraiser. And so I started thinking, wouldn't people love to hear that story? Wouldn't people love to hear what is involved in putting together an animal sanctuary? Because I'm sure if you have friends who love animals, they say, oh, well, one day when I'm done doing my real job and I've saved up some money, I want to retire and have a sanctuary. Who in the room has said or heard that? Be honest, I have too. I think many of us have this dream. And so I thought, how can we address that? How can we talk about this dream that so many of us have, but in a real way, in a compassionate way with each other, about what's really involved? Because it's a lot of hard work. There are so many joys, but there's a lot of hard work. So I said, why don't we do a sanctuary panel, see if Jenny Brown, our awesome now moderator, speaker, first year of Atlanta Veg Fest, gave an extremely powerful talk, made everyone cry, I'm pretty sure. Everyone cried. Jenny is the founder and first executive director of Woodstock Farm Animal Sanctuary up in New York, where I've been. Awesome place. And she's going to be moderating our conversation here today with 6 directors, operators, owners, volunteers of different sanctuaries here in Georgia who will each introduce themselves. Sorry. We good, y'all? We good. Don't worry about it. But first, we're going to start with a brief presentation. As I said, I got involved through A New Hope. And this week, we lost someone very dear to our community. The founder and director of A New Hope passed away on election night. And many of us are grieving. We loved her a lot, and we love what she built. And we miss her a lot. But she leaves us a very powerful legacy. She leaves us an operating sanctuary with beautifully built enclosures, 26 animals, a 501c3 nonprofit status, which is hard enough to get if you've ever tried, a board of directors, volunteers who were committed to her, who were devoted to the mission, and the 26 animals. So in partnership with Atlanta Veg Fest, we are running a memorial fundraiser for Max and for the women of A New Hope, the women who work so hard every day through their grief to keep A New Hope running. And if you'll take a moment, these women are here with us this morning. If you'll give them a round of applause. When we think about activism, when we think about behaving in ways that align with our belief, with what we know to be true about this world and our relationship with each other, they are doing it. So I hope you will join me in Atlanta Veg Fest and the people who in 3 days have donated over $7,000 to push us to this goal and to show up for us. As donors, yes, but that you will come to me, that you will come to the Atlanta Veg Fest board, and you will say, how can I be a part? How can I help this sanctuary that's in my backyard? Today you're going to learn about what's involved in running a sanctuary. You have several that are in your backyard where you can go do the work. So please, remember who we're doing this for. These are the real animals who are at A New Hope right now, who need your help. Juniper the deer, she has seizures. She needs her seizure medication. You know, she needs special care. Neffin the Cody, Griffin the fox, Liliana, Ghost, Cody, Kaju, and so many others. There are 26 animals who need us right now. So if you go to this link, bit.ly/ANH for A New Hope, AVF for Atlanta Veg Fest, and make a donation. We're also going to be taking donations during the talk, so you may see a jar come around. If you have some dollars on you, something bigger than $1, take it in. We are literally passing the hat for our community right now, and I hope you will show up for us, because this is who we're doing it for, the animals, for today and always. Thank you so much. Let's get started with our panel.
Is my mic on? Okay, you guys can hear me? Okay, so just a brief intro about myself. My husband and I are the founders of the Woodstock Farm Sanctuary, and that's in New York, and we started in 2004 after I spent a year working for a farm sanctuary in upstate New York to really try to understand what I was getting myself into. I'd worked in film and television. I'd been involved with Farm Sanctuary and PETA. I did some undercover footage at stockyards and factory farms and saw things that really scarred me and made me leave my career and dedicate my life to being a voice for farm animals. All animals matter, all sanctuaries, you know, different types of animals matter, but truly farmed animals are the most exploited and abused beings on the planet. So for me, in my experience at Farm Sanctuary, I realized what a magical place it was. And most of us don't ever spend any time with cows, pigs, chickens, turkeys. But when you meet them, and when you meet them in an environment where they're treated with love and kindness, and they've lost their fear of people, sometimes can take a while, you see that they have individual personalities. They're self-aware. They have their likes and their dislikes. They have their best friends. And that's why having an animal sanctuary and bringing the public in and allowing the public to meet these animals who have names and not numbers, who are friends and not food, who are there to sort of represent the millions, billions of their kind, that's when you see the wheels turning, the synapses firing with a lot of people. A lot of people will bring their spouse or their brother or their family, like I've been telling them for years, well, I'm vegan, and they just need to meet the animals, and sometimes that's all it takes. These animals are abstractions in our society. They live in factory farms. They're completely out of the public eye. The slaughterhouses are way in the distant, although I said it, there's complicity. And so it's really a situation where gone are the days of Little House on the Prairie. These animals are being treated like widgets on a factory line. Allowing people to come to sanctuaries, being open to the public, doing animal tours, and talking to them about these issues while they're meeting individuals, it can just be a really, really powerful thing. So that's why I'm thinking all of us do what we, I can't speak for everybody, but that's why we got started. And we moved from Woodstock to an area called High Falls, New York. It's 90 minutes from the city. We have over 350 rescued farm animals. Our focus has always been on food production animals specifically, but we recently took in a horse, and we've got a single llama. And thousands of people come through our sanctuary on the weekends. We're open April through October. And really, many, many, many leave inspired, changed. They vow to leave something off their plate or to really explore a vegan lifestyle. It's so abstract and so hidden in our society. We have got to be their voice. So even if you never end up starting a sanctuary, know what powerful places they can be and get others, bring other people to them. We grow up in a society where you love some and you eat others, and we need to blur those lines. We need to remove that line entirely. So I'm very honored to be on this panel today, moderating this panel with these lovely folks who are my brothers and sisters in the cause. And we want to give you guys some reality checks about how difficult this is. But talk about other things as well. But truly, a lot of people have told me over the years that I'm living their dream, and they want to do exactly what I do. But if they knew the weeks and weeks that went by without a day off, a trip to the grocery store is an exciting adventure. Going to Lowe's and buying some supplies for your chicken coops. Really, it is such a commitment, and especially with farm animals. People say they love animals, but they don't necessarily mean farm animals. So finding the people who can support you and keep your work going, who care and who can engage themselves, it's hard. It's not dogs and cats, or perhaps you are looking into doing that, but just know it's hard. Keeping the funding coming in can be very difficult. So anyway, that's my intro, my little lecture to start off. But I wanted to start out with you guys. You've been doing this for a while, and I think you have a good number of animals as well. This is Kat and Susan of Sweet Olive Farm Animal Rescue. And if you guys could just start out and let us know about who you are and what you're doing.
Hello. I'm Kat.
I'm Susan.
Hi. So we started our farm in 2010. We didn't set out to have a rescue. We're rescuing dogs in Atlanta. And our neighbor called animal control on us. And so when we had just rented the farm where now Sweet Olive Farm is, to have a place to take the dogs to run. And so when there was a knock at the door, and I opened it, and the animal control officer said, "How many dogs do you have in here?" I just slammed the door in his face. So then when the lady came out to give me my special permit to have up to 10 dogs, she said, "Do y'all want a potbelly pig?" And I said, "Sure, that'll really make the neighbor mad." And they said, "Oh no, I just rented a farm." So when I went to pick up the pig, they said, "Will you take this rooster?" Fulton County Animal Control. I said, "Sure." Well, I'm a landscaper by trade, so I had to send my crew to the farm. There was not one fence, not one. It looked like they just dropped this house by aliens into the middle of 20 acres. So that's how we got started. They thought Thelma was a girl, it was a boy, so his name's Mr. Thelma, and he's still with us. So now we have about 150 animals.
And more all the time, obviously. And how many pigs now?
Almost 50 potbelly
We
pigs.
started with Mr. Thelman. Obviously there's a fight for pigs.
Yes. And can I ask, are you open to the public? Do you plan to open to the public at some time?
Oh, we are. It's usually just by request and on Saturdays. We have volunteer days on Saturdays. We're a 501c3 since last March, and it's like we're just pedaling as fast as we can. It's like we're living our dream. I'm a frustrated veterinarian, but so now I get to deal with the UJ vet, which is another thing. We're near a vet school. It's super important. We have about 30 alpacas. We have exotic animals. And so that's a real thing to think about, that you have to care for these animals, and, you're always broke, and but it's fun. So
It's a farm sanctuary about how to be an animal rescuer, and they said, this is how you do it, get this in order first, and then you start. So
Yeah.
we were an example of how not to do it.
yeah, we're the poster children of how not to start a rescue.
That's often how it works, though,
But yeah, we love it. But it just happened. And so I think if you're just open to it, it's once you just start. If you see something that needs rescuing, like a hawk on the side of the road, well, then you start becoming more aware of it. So I think that's just how and we love our community. It's just so that's my favorite thing.
And children are important to come in, and we have school groups come. on a
So
regular
important,
basis,
yeah.
whenever it's a Thursday
Yeah.
comes.
Yeah, homeschool groups, and it's really amazing in our area. So.
That's fantastic. So next we have Kayla and Jackie. Jackie's on the board. Kayla, you're the founder. And you have Full Circle Farm Sanctuary. You guys just moved. I think you're the closest farm animal sanctuary to Atlanta now.
Yeah, is this working?
Yeah.
We started in 2010 near Asheville, North Carolina. And we just moved down to Warm Springs, just south of Atlanta, in April. And we hit the ground running. We went from a barely 2-acre little hillside plot to a 50-acre expansive, beautiful sanctuary. So it's been crazy busy. We went from a handful of animals to now over 100 animals. We have big plans. We're going to open our lodge as a B&B in the spring, so people can immerse themselves in the full experience of farmed animals. The house is situated such that with a wraparound deck that you can go all the way around the house, and there are animals all around you. The pastures and enclosures are all around you. We're also going to have summer day camps for kids starting next year. We're going to start official tours very soon. We have volunteer work days. We definitely want to do a lot of outreach and do a lot of outreach. We have special events. We've already started. We're going to have vegan cooking classes. We have other classes that we're holding as well. So it's a really, I always feel like it is a lot of work, like Jenny said. It's no kidding. It is like an experience. Like today, being here is like an experience. Wow, I'm off of the grounds. Wow. You know? But at the same time, I feel like personally it's my privilege. In addition to the work, I get to be there and share my life with these beautiful beings. I mean, I have all these over 100 incredible friends that many people never get to know. So I just feel like so lucky in many ways. And that's what you remind yourself of when you're so tired and overworked, is the opportunity you have. And also just the chance to watch these animals who are better ambassadors than any of us could ever be for their own kind. To watch them change lives. And I've seen it happen over and again. Where they do change lives just by being themselves. So we really hope people will check us out, get involved, come to our events, volunteer. We need volunteers like crazy. We're building infrastructure, we're expanding, and we really need a lot of help. So don't hesitate to contact us. We appreciate help very much.
Thank you. And we've got our newest young activist startup sanctuary folks down there, Carmen and Greg. Your sanctuary right now is in sort of the development stage.
Yeah.
And if you'd like to tell us about yourself and your plans and what sort of inspired you to get started in this. I think you're mic'd, aren't you? Do you
Yeah, I was going to,
Oh, okay.
in case you wanted to say something. I'm Carmen, this is Greg, and yeah, we are very new. We actually are in the process, we're a 501c3, and we're in the process of basically trying to make connections and network with people like you, to raise awareness and get our name out there, because we actually don't have the farm yet. We are in the process of selling our house. As soon as we sell our house, we're going to try and find land basically within an hour, around an hour of Atlanta, so people want to come, so it's not super far drive for volunteers and whoever's donating their time and whatever they can donate to us. And yeah, basically, since we don't really have much to say about animals, I'll talk about, I guess, kind of like what inspired us. We've been vegan for about 4 years, coming up on 4 years, and I've always been an animal person. I grew up with animals my whole life, worked at a vet since I was 16. Never really had a lot of experience with farm animals, but always wanted to, but I've always been in the city. But I've always been amazed, like, you know, seeing at a distance on like, just like, you know, farms that raise cattle for food. Just always just thought cows were like beautiful and stuff like that. I'm so thankful that Kayla and Full Circle moved down here because Greg and I have been able to actually go there and volunteer and actually get hands-on experience. And we finally did that probably, it's been like, when was our first experience? Like a year ago? 2 years ago?
We moved here in April.
In April, okay. So, yeah, a few months ago. But the year, we went to a Veg Fest in Asheville, and we were hoping to meet them. But we went to the Animal Haven, which is a different farm sanctuary in Asheville, and that was like a year ago. And we volunteered there, and as soon as we like met the animals, we knew that's like what we wanted to do. Like, it just basically solidified that. I mean, because it's scary. It's a scary thing. Like, you're like, gosh, these animals are so big. The ones that you're rescuing, like, are usually ones that need medical attention. So it costs like lots and lots of money, and like, you know, it's a scary thing. And if you only worked with dogs and cats your whole life, then it's just a totally different thing. But as soon as we like, you know, actually like were with them and immersed in that, it's magical. And then being able to now go to Full Circle whenever we have a chance, it's just, I can't even explain to you guys. If you haven't gone, like, you just need to go to any of these sanctuaries. Like, it'll just change your life. And basically, we just know that that's what we want to do. Like, even if we're broke or whatever, we just want to do that. We want to live there with the animals, and it's just amazing.
And by the way, the name of our sanctuary is Farm of the Free Animal Sanctuary.
We have a booth. Come see.
Yeah, go by and see their booth. I think, do all of you have a booth here? So, okay. But yeah, stop by and get some literature and see how you might get involved. So I do want to say, because I was actually having this conversation with you guys, we've had a number of people come to Woodstock and do an internship, people who are interested in starting a sanctuary. If I hadn't have worked at Farm Sanctuary for a year, that experience was invaluable. Being there, sort of getting a sense of the manual labor that's involved, of the knowledge that's involved, understanding the housing that the animals need, the feed, the parasite treatments, concerns with your pasture, and do you have a good, nutritious pasture? Do you have any toxins in your pasture? What plants do you have? We were just having this conversation. There's so many things that you don't know that you really need to know, and my time at Farm Sanctuary really allowed me to sort of wrap my head around all those things, and it was really only that experience that gave me the confidence to go forward in 2004 and to buy property and to start it on our own. And I was also saying that our wedding was our first ever fundraiser. You got to get creative, and there's also so much to learn. You had gone to the Farm Sanctuary conference. I went to that years ago too, and it's really the only thing of its kind. It's a weekend long. I think is it called the Farm Animal? It used to be called like the Critter Care Conference, but now Animal Care Conference. It is a crash course weekend that really gives you everything you need to know about starting a farm animal sanctuary. But just skimming the surface. But it's a great workshop. You learn a lot. Most people leave. It's like there's a fraction of people who actually go on to start a sanctuary. So, but I encourage people. We've had folks who've started a sanctuary, like again, Lenore Bradford of
North Carolina.
Piedmont Farm Animal Sanctuary. There's folks in Indiana who started a sanctuary. They've come and done an internship with us. There's people in Israel who are starting a sanctuary, in France who are starting a sanctuary. And we really, for people who are serious about it and who actually either have a partner who's also just engaged, they've got land, they've gotten a 501c3, we invite those people to come and spend time working alongside our caregivers and asking questions and getting that experience. It's really vital that people do that.
So I just wanted to ask, because again, we all up here, I think we're focused on farm animals, but you guys have dogs as well, and pot-bellied pigs, so your focus is not necessarily, well, tell us a little bit about some of the animals, and can you guys pass the mic back down here? And maybe tell us about an animal or two that's just bursting with personality and has changed your lives.
I guess, well, yeah, I guess it's Sweet Olive Farm and then Animal Rescue, so it's like, but it could also be Farm Animal Rescue. We got some zebu cattle. We had a sanctuary that was foreclosed on. We worked with Animal Recovery Mission to get I think we got 4 zebu cattle, some goats, and ended up with 10 pot-bellied pigs from them, which was a real bummer because these animals had not had proper nutrition. So then you're rescuing from a rescue, and that was just really weird. But it was fun meeting the people from Animal Recovery Mission, who it's kind of like a Robert Palmer video with all these chicks with fatigues and they carry guns. Because they do a lot of work with illegal horse slaughter in South Florida. I recommend looking them up. Anyway, so one of the cows that came, and they're miniature. It's an Indian leather cow, basically. It's a miniature Brahma, but she was pregnant when we got her, and we just had a calf, and he's had leg issues, so we've had to brace his legs, but we just found out that they're going to be okay. So he's been real inspirational, and the vets all call him Forrest Gump, so I guess that name's going to stick. And I think he's really going to lose his braces. But anyway, we just pretty much take anything. The dogs, they're not really, they're more pets, I guess. We have 2 Great Pyrenees, which I highly recommend if anybody has, just to keep coyotes and things away from your pastures. We've had good luck with them.
Donkeys also, I've heard. We had a mule at one point, she got adopted out, but donkeys are also fiercely protective, and llamas, right, of other animals.
We do have one llama that came with a group of alpacas that, it's just amazing. She's amazing. I love llamas.
Because predators are an issue.
Predators are a big issue, and you can't be everywhere at once. And that's another thing. You really can't just go off to work. You have to have somebody on your farm all day. And as soon as you leave to do anything, I mean, like I got home yesterday and a baby pig was out. And, so I'm just like in the front yard. But anyway, I don't know if that answers the question, but we got alpacas from 3 or 4 different farms. In the mid-90s, people thought that it was going to be a great way to retire, to raise alpacas for fun.
I read this on your website, yeah.
And it's not. They're horrible. They're great animals, but people thought they could sell them for $40,000, and I think maybe 2 people did that. And then the pot-bellied pigs, they just. Probably talking too long, but it's just so sad when people get these pigs and then they give them up and the pigs grieve. We're getting one this afternoon. And they're just great animals.
Yeah.
Was
it during the 80s that that was when it was really trendy and people had no idea what they were getting into?
I think Brad Pitt and George Clooney had one, and everybody that couldn't afford one got one.
And then there's the mini pig craze, and there are typically not many pigs.
Well, we get the pigs. A lot of people bring our pig, and they say, well, it can only have this much food. And so so it's not a miniature animal if you're just starving it to keep it small. So we deal a lot with that, and I'll.
We have 13 dogs now. We recently acquired 4 that were going to be euthanized at Gwinnett County Shelter. These little bitty dogs, Chihuahua and Yorkie and Pomeranian, and they were just coming to us to be fostered, and of course I couldn't leave. I felt right at home. And
I think most of us have been foster failures in our life.
so that expanded our dog universe immensely recently, but we love it.
Sure. Okay. Oh, that's okay. Okay. So yeah, can you tell us about some of your animals and inspiration? You said you have about 100 animals. What are the different types of animals?
Yes, we have over 100 animals. My name's Jackie. I'm on the board with Kayla's Full Circle Farm Sanctuary. I'm also a humane educator with the Ethical Choices program. So very excited to be here, very honored to be part of Full Circle and with this group of wonderful people. We have over 100 animals ranging from all your typical farm animals, in addition, a llama, alpaca, emus, and variety of donkeys, etc. And you're absolutely right about the predator, the need for the Pyrenees dogs and the donkeys, and all of those are spread out throughout the pastures to ensure protection and safety for all of these animals. In fact, as soon as you enter the grounds of Full Circle Farm Sanctuary, you'll immediately get a sense of safety everywhere, whether it be the signage, the double gates as you're entering, the double locks within each pasture area, just very, very important. We could go into lots of stories regarding the need for constant observation regarding safety issues, as anyone on this panel could. But as far as a few inspirational animals, I don't even know where to begin. Do I begin with Dougie or Jade or Charlie or Sierra? So I'd say Dougie first won my heart when I first started going over there. He is a completely blind baby goat and was on his way to slaughter. Those who had him felt he was useless. And so we began, of course, with him. He was pulled from his mama right away with the bottle feeding, and I think that always helps with the bonding when you get to bottle feed these animals and hold them. But to watch how absolutely independent and secure and happy he is, to watch Dougie dance and run through the pastures and play is inspiring. Maybe one other story, it's so hard to limit it to just one. Tita, our precious little sweet chicken who was born with a cross beak. Vegan Outreach brought her to us, and she couldn't eat with this cross beak. The cross beak means that the bottom beak is sideways, and then the top beak is forward. And so Kayla there is no medical need that goes cared for, whether it be a chicken who's limping. She's immediately taking that chicken to the veterinarian school at the University of Georgia or Auburn, which is an hour away, their vet school. But at any rate, Tita was spending a lot of time also trying to get some of these corrections. But because she was eating a special liquid diet to try to put some weight on her, she would also get it all over her, and then you have to be careful about parasites. So, I was able to bathe her, and then she's so fragile and so tiny, and keep her under the heating lamps and dry her off until she was completely dry. And her best little buddy friend, Chesko, who is very protective of her and wouldn't leave her side, and whenever she would go to the vet school, he would also accompany her. So I could go on and on with the animals, but I'm sure Kayla can add several stories as well.
Well, you guys down there, I know you don't have animals just yet, but maybe give us sort of a timeline, and what are your biggest needs right now in terms of skills? Are you building a board right now? Do you need people who have specific skills?
Okay, well, being an animal person, as you can imagine, I'm not really a people person. So it's really hard for me. Luckily, my husband is more, easy to talk to and stuff like that. But I would love people who are creative, who aren't afraid to talk to other people, creative ideas. Just give us any input. I'm not saying that we can do it all, but any ideas you have, if you want to come by the booth and sign up on our email list or just talk to us, we would love that. I mean, honestly, this is all new to us, and luckily we've had Kayla who's mentored us and hearing stories from them, and we're about to volunteer at the Farm Sanctuary in California, which is a big deal next month. Yeah, so anything like that, and I do have one story about an animal, but it's not a farm animal.
That's okay.
Okay. We rescued a feeder goldfish. He was about this big, and he was literally going to be food for somebody else. And so we rescued him. We had a fish tank, and we put him in there, and he kept growing, and now he's about this big, and I've had to buy like 2 different fish tanks, and he got sick one day, and I was like really sad because he wasn't doing his normal thing, and it makes me sad that he's in a fish tank anyway, to begin with. I wish he could be like out in a pond somewhere. We don't have that yet. Maybe on a farm we will. But he got sick one day when we were moving, and was going in there to get him, and I don't know, I always like try to do weird things with animals, like I just try things, and I was like, I'm gonna try to pet him. And I did. And he, like, so then I just like would leave my finger in there, and he would just keep swimming around and like kind of rubbing on my finger, like a cat would. You know, cats just kind of, he was doing that. I literally have a video. If you go on my Facebook page or on my Instagram page, you can see that. And so when I saw that, I was like, wow, even a fish has this ability. Like, how are we like discrediting all these other animals that are walking and, you know, feeling and blinking and like, I mean, so that really like was just very inspiring to me. So, yeah, if you pay attention and you watch, I think animals can teach us some really amazing things.
So we do have a house full of rescued animals right now, such as dogs, cats, rats, and those fish. But when we get the farm, we definitely plan and will rescue animals that are slaughtered by the millions, of course, such as chickens, turkeys,
Billions.
pigs, billions, yeah, and cows, and of course we'd love to have some goats and anything that needs help and care for. So that's our plan.
So, Kayla, can you tell us, Kayla or Jackie, what is the hardest part of running a sanctuary? The loss and the work and the funding. If you could just touch on what is, you know, what keeps you up at night?
Well, the loss is definitely hard. It doesn't ever get easier. That's the price you pay for caring, of course, is when you have so many animals, you're inevitably going to lose, and they're all your babies. So I find it never gets easier, and sometimes I can't even talk about it. It's so heartbreaking. But then what kicks you up to keep going is another animal, you're getting a call or an email, or an animal shows up at your door. You just know there's always more that need. There's never a shortage of animals that need your help. So that becomes your inspiration, you know, and just by staying busy and putting your heart and soul into another being who needs you. You never forget the ones you lose. I can remember every animal, but there are so many other special ones waiting for you. But I also, just the fundraising part, it is hard. It's hard to keep a sanctuary going. You feel like you're always begging for money, but we just figured out...
Because you are.
You are. And we just figured out the other day how many pounds of pig food we go through a month. It's well over 1,000 pounds a month, and we have full-size conventional farm pigs, and we have pot-bellied pigs. But I mean, it just goes, it's so much money, so you have to be asking for help. I mean, it's not just saying it, but you rely on people such as yourselves, caring people, to keep it going. I mean, we have, you know, those of us there doing the work are happy to do the work, but we truly do, it takes a village to do what we're doing. And as we expand and open our B&B and start our tours going, we're going to need more volunteers to be tour guides to help our B&B run. I mean, so there's a lot to it. The physical labor is immense, but again, the more volunteers and people you get involved, spread it out, so it's not so hard on every one person. You know, it gets a bit easier the more organized and the more help you get. So if you have any inclination of wanting to help at a sanctuary, please take a step forward and help, because it's appreciated more than you know.
And it's really the only way, again, to have that experience, to understand what you're getting yourself into is so critical. I think most sanctuaries, startup sanctuaries, close within the first 2 years because people really don't have any idea. And it is it can be, it's irresponsible to take in animals if you don't have the money to care for them. And then you end up burdening other sanctuaries. You know, we've had several sanctuaries that have closed down and we've taken in a number of their animals, and that puts an additional burden on those sanctuaries. So it's just, it's a good thing to know. And you have to have somebody who's sending out emails, and you need to have fundraisers, and so, you know, you need a web person, you need somebody who can plan these events. You got to be creative when it comes to how to get your money, and you need to suck up to a lot of people. And then can you tell us what is the hardest part for you guys in terms of the biggest needs, the things that just, you know, is it the funding? Is it issues with heating bills, needing new pastures, pasture rotation? What, you know, what are some of the big issues for you guys?
All of the above. No, it's, so, well, with this drought, the pasture issue is really bad now, so, which means I'm sure all y'all are buying a lot of hay, which isn't normally in your budget for this time of year. You know, I've had rye seed out. We throw out rye, and it's been out. I mean, the only time it grows is if the water overflows. But yeah, it's there's always a lot of need financially, and but the volunteer aspect is just so great, and the community building options for people. You know, like just meeting all y'all is a thing. It just expands your community, and it makes life so great. And then, so, you know, the hard part for us, I guess, is just fundraising. I mean, it's just so hard to keep at, you know, like I put my GoFundMe out there, you know, get $7, and I'm just like, okay, well. Maybe I need to go to another. But we're working on that. So, but yeah, anybody, you know, like any time y'all go and want to volunteer at any aspect, I mean, from a humane society to a farm animal rescue, and just, you know, people, but a lot of it's not glamorous, it's scooping poo. I mean, that's basically what you do.
Yep.
If you come to our farm, that's what you'll do. And,
you will touch feces.
Yeah, but just hanging out with the animals to me is, I'm like, I'm like, it's not a petting zoo. I don't care if they're really tame, but they need to be able to be seen by a vet. So does that answer the question?
Yeah, and I think it's good to talk about volunteering. We were just having this conversation. It's, you know, volunteers are truly the lifeblood of sanctuaries, and unless, you know, if you got the money and you just want to have a private sanctuary and not rely on the public support, I mean, that's a beautiful thing. That's, I think, ideal for all of us, because begging for money all the time can be really difficult. You have to have a board of directors, you have to meet all of these, you know, criteria, document filing every year. There's so much work behind having a 501c3 charitable organization. So, you know, I do want to give that little bit of advice. If you can just do it without becoming a nonprofit, I say go for it. And then also, I think I started off in my talk here talking about how critical it is to be open to the public, but that's not to diminish work at all of other sanctuaries who are just saving lives and allowing them to be there and not being open to the public. It means a lot to each and every one of those individuals. It's a wonderful opportunity if you can be open to the public. But again, that's another thing in terms of where you're going to buy your property. So awesome to be close to a city. You need to make sure that you can actually advertise in the paper that you're open, and it's zoning. There's so much to look into. And for us, when our sanctuary was smaller and in Woodstock, we went from 23 acres to 150, our nonprofit could not own our first property. So my husband and I bought the land, and the house came on the land, but it was a giant open hayfield. And then eventually, when the sanctuary could afford it, we got rent from the sanctuary, and it was the only way we could pay the mortgage, because that's just how it worked. But the sanctuary could not purchase the property. So there's so many things to look into in that regard. How much time do we have? So I'm going to leave it to you guys. Is there something that you just, if somebody were to come up to you and say, I am stoked. I want to start a sanctuary, and give me some advice. What are the things that you would say? Jackie and Kayla, or whoever wants to take the mic.
Talk about nonprofit, since you did that. I was super excited about it, but he thankfully is the one that did it.
Yeah, well, starting the nonprofit was quite easy actually online. There's steps, step by step, but we would love to get more advice from you guys, obviously, because we're starting. I mean, we've got everything up and running. We're just trying to sell our house, and then we need the land and then the animals, and but everything else besides that is up and running. The nonprofit, the website, and everything.
I understand, like how you did it online.
Yeah, well, I did it online all by myself, just searching how to do it. So that was that easy.
You
There's
can do
YouTube
it.
videos. I mean, it's all out there to figure it out. And then we had to get a lawyer to become tax exempt, which was probably the most difficult part that I couldn't figure out without a lawyer's help. So.
But luckily, like, we found a really nice lawyer who, like, believed in our cause, and he gave us, like, a really good deal. So that was good. But yeah, I think if anybody wants to do a farm sanctuary, yeah, I do think we don't have experience like you guys, but I think it would be awesome if there was like a farm sanctuary on every corner. That way people can actually see these animals and know them, and then they, hopefully less people would want to eat them, and, less animals would need to be rescued.
It's really a powerful form of activism. To me, it is the most powerful form of activism in terms of trying to get people to not eat these animals. So, should I, questions? Do we have time for questions?
If you do have questions, who's on Twitter, Instagram? We were thinking about doing like a hashtag, like hashtag AVF Sanctuary or something like that, where you could drop any questions in there. We don't have questions. We don't have time to take questions here at the panel. But if you do have questions, one question I would love all of the panelists to answer, including Jenny, our moderator, thank you so much, is how can people stay in touch?
Well, I think all of you guys have a website, and I'm sure there's a way to contact you through the website. I would say visit your tables, Farm of the Free and Full Circle, visit your tables. And did you guys bring any literature or anything? But you've got a website, so people can contact you that way. Well, look.
Sweet Olive Farm. We're on Instagram and Facebook.
That's great.
And
I
next
just want
time
to
we'll
point
be
out
there.
she's got mud, perhaps poop on her pants here. So it looks like in the trenches.
I think we have one last thing from Jackie. If we can go to Jackie one more time.
She said those are her good pants. Just want to put a quick plug in. Yes, certainly we have a Facebook page where you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, as well as Facebook. But I want to put a quick plug in. We have one fundraiser coming up on November 19th called Thanks Living, where you'll have the opportunity to come out and as a fundraiser and help us feed our turkeys, a feast. And then the next day, on November 20th, we have a volunteer orientation from 12 to 2, where we go through the procedures of how to volunteer on a regular basis. Be happy to have you, whether you can come out once a month or be a regular weekly volunteer. Whatever you can give would be appreciated in terms of your time.
What's the driving distance
We're
from
about
here?
an hour southwest of Atlanta, so if you're within a couple hour radius, it'd be wonderful.
Okay, well, I want to put this out there. I have, for years, acted as an advisor to folks who are starting a sanctuary, and I don't mind giving out my personal email address, jennybrown@mac.com. Jenny with a Y, jennybrown@mac.com. If you want to get in touch, I'm happy to lend advice. I've even done some traveling and been brought out as a, for consultation with people who are starting up a sanctuary. So we should have one on every corner, I agree, but it's not something you can take lightly. It's such a life commitment. And anyway, I'll scare the bejesus out of you if you want to talk to me on the phone or email about it. Kidding. Anyway, thank you. Thanks to the Atlanta Veg Fest. Thanks to our awesome panelists here. And